Hi, welcome. It's Ingrid Carlsen, and this is Carrie Tootie, and I am so glad to have you here today. So today we are going to try to find out if we can make a booklet like this or bind loose pages using a glue gun. So I'm going to give you a chance to pause this video now for two reasons. One, I want you to vote down below and let me know if you think it is possible. And then number two, if you're not already subscribed and hitting that bell to get notified every time a new video comes out, you can do that right now. We are going to see if this little booklet was made using hot glue. If that's something that you're interested in, keep watching. Let's start off by talking about the supplies. So the first thing you're going to need, I'm just using for my covers an old cereal box. You can use whatever you want as a cover. You can use an old board book. You can use a new board book. You can use file folders. You can use cardstock. There's a ton of different resources. You're going to get your pages, whatever they are. Here I'm just using 10 pages of copy paper. It's just regular thin, I think 20-pound copy paper, and I'm going to cut these in fours. So I'm going to cut it down half and down in half. You're also going to need a glue gun with a glue stick, and you are going to need clips. And they could be anything, and depending on the size that you are trying to bind, you might be able to even use just regular paper clips. So I'm going to, and I'll show you here, I have kind of a thick stack and the paper clip is holding on. So I'm just going to use these binder clips, and I think that's pretty much all that we're going to need. So you're going to see how quickly and easily this project comes together. Now I'm just going to take, and some of these cut bigger than others because I'm terrible at cutting. I'm going to stick those in the back. We're going to pretend like they're all even. But I'm going to take one of my pieces of paper. Preferably if you have one that's larger, you're going to use that. And I'm just going to line it up, and I can use my clips here to hold it in place. And I'm just going to cut out the piece. And if you want it to be a little larger than your journal or the journal pages, then you can make it larger at this point. Oops. I will take this and use it as my new template. And if you want everything to line up, then you can also measure at this point and cut out by measurements. So now I have my two covers. And just for the sake of this video, I'm going to use the brown sides. You're going to see how easily this is going to come together. So I'm going to sandwich in my covers. And I want to make sure to line up one of the edges. I'm going to use 4 clips just to make sure it's secured. And it moved out of place somehow. So this is the most important part, is you want to make sure that your papers are lined up at the end. I am going to stick one right here. Now we are just going to simply take our glue gun, and I'm just going to take the first little bit off, and we're going to start gluing the top. Something else you could use is some kind of slick object. Anything plastic that the glue will come off of is fine. You could also use like a silicone scraper. That would work well as well. I'm going to give it just a minute and take off any of the excess. I'm going to move my binder over a little bit, and I'm going to do the same for this edge here. I want to pinch it so that the pages stay as tight as possible. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to put my binder clips there. I'm going to let that sit for just a minute, but we're going to go through and do the same process one more time to make sure that all of the pages are secured. I'm going to take it apart and take a look to see if it worked. And what I like, okay, so that page came off. That page came off. Nope, they're all coming off. That is not going to work. When you are putting your pages together, normally the way that I've done this process before is using a wet glue. And so you want this to be very tight. But I just tried with the hot glue and I didn't have as great a success. So we're going to try a little bit different of a method. So instead of worrying about the top edge being so tight, we're actually going to allow it to be a little loose. So I'm going to lay it down on the table, and I'm going to start with the inner pages. I'm going to go ahead and give a good amount of glue. Once the glue is completely dry and cool to the touch, and the longer you let this harden, the better your project will be, the more sturdy. We're going to test it out and see if it works. So pause this right now and vote down below. Do you think it's going to work or not? Okay, so, all right, well, my cover did not stay, but my pages seem to be held on pretty well. Let's go on this side. So here my cover did stay, but my pages are doing, sorry, didn't mean to shake it. My pages are doing really well here. So as you can see here, both of my covers came off. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually let me grab some heavy duty scissors. And we're going to cut just the excess of this off. So I don't know who wins here, the people that said yes or no. It's half true. Okay, so we are on to plan B because plan A did not work. I was even able to cleanly peel off the hot glue. So what we're going to do is do the old method of using a wet glue. I'm going to do the same way that I did before. You don't want it leaking into there, but you definitely don't want it not to make contact with every single page. So I'm going to take my art glitter glue. I've never used this glue before. I've usually only used like a PVA glue. I can tell you off the bat though, what I like about this is you can see where, like I can see there that it needs a little extra. Okay, as I get that, then now I'm going to take my binder clips and I'm going to bind it close to the edge. And now we're going to let this completely dry. It's been about an hour and it feels like the glue is pretty dry at a time here. If I was doing this and let you know how long it took project, like I really wanted it to stay, then I would definitely let this dry for at least 24 hours. And so I can already tell off the bat that we are good. Now the other thing you can do here is you can take out a piece. Now, I don't know if you could take out a piece if it was thicker, like let's say a mixed media paper, but with copy paper, it definitely comes out. So I think that's good. Now I see here my cover is separating a little, but when I cover this and decorate it, then it'll be fine. And I'm going to use this just as a notepad, but if you guys want to stick around, I'm going to go ahead and just cover it up real quick. So I think that the answer to our question was yes and no. I do think that it might be possible to use a glue gun. It did not work today, but thank goodness we had some liquid glue on standby, and I think that it worked really well. Now, I'm not sure that I would do this on a project where I am working in the book necessarily and moving it around a lot, because I think once you, actually that's pretty good, but it's kind of like watercolor paper that comes in a pack. This is how it's glued together, and you know sometimes the pages can loosen on you, so just keep that in mind. But it's definitely a good project. It is a good way to bind something when you don't want to poke holes in it, or you don't want to do binding with a needle and thread or tab binding or anything else. You can do it like this. So I definitely say that you give it a try, and if you do, let me know if you had any good results using the glue gun, or if you're just going to stick with the PVA gun. So until next time, I'll see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.